Princess Mononoke is a classic Studio Ghibli film, and perhaps one of Miyazaki Hayao's greatest projects to ever grace the silver screen. A tale of past and future, of the natural and the human, of demons, princesses, beasts, warriors, soldiers, workers. Truly an incredible piece of art. There's so much happening in Princess Mononoke's 133-minute runtime that I honestly wasn't sure where to start with this video. Having completed a recent rewatch, I really wanted to take it away and talk about it, but I almost ended up with too much to look at. Every single minute of this film is packed with depth, a comprehensive reflection on human lived experience from a myriad of angles and perspectives. Every character is worth looking at, but Ashitaka is probably my favourite, so I initially wanted to focus on him. Therefore, I started looking into one of the central plot devices of Mononoke, the curse of hatred that Ashitaka bears. So of course, I traced the curse back to the boar god Nago as a starting point. It's through combat with Nago that Ashitaka becomes cursed, after all, but my research ultimately stayed there, at least for the time being. I still want to look at the curse mark at a later date, as I find it so intriguing, but I also just wanted to do a short video on the topic of the rampaging cursed boar, as I find it to be a fascinating subject also. So today, let's take a quick look at the demon boars of Mononoke. There are two demon boars in this movie. Nago, the boar that Ashitaka fights in the Amishi village, and Okoto, the boar that San tries to rescue in the latter half of the film. I find Miyazaki's use of demon boars particularly interesting, because it poses a question on what he may have been drawing from. Thanks to internet forums, it's relatively well understood that the demon forms, Nago in particular, appear similar to the Tsuchigumo, a sort of monstrous spider yokai, obviously originating from the east in Japan. We see this in the vile, squirming form of Nago that seems to shapeshift as he moves, as well as the long, arachnid-like legs that drag his body across the ground. But we also know that, although he may appear this way, Nago is not a spider. He is a form of great boar kami, adding a level of divinity and spirituality into the mix. There's actually a good number of demon or otherwise divinely cursed or influenced rampaging boars across Western mythologies as well. As a big fan of epic poetry, the boar that immediately came to mind for myself was the famous Caledonian boar, and that's really where this video is headed. A tale originating in ancient Greece, set during a great age of heroes, the hunt for the Caledonian boar has been retold a few times. This is normal for a text of this period. Its contemporaries are in a similar position in which different tellings sometimes lead to differing versions. In this case, the most famous version is Ovid's, in the Metamorphosis. A general version of the tale goes as follows. Caledon was located in Aetolia, a region in ancient Greece, ruled by the king Oeneus. This king made a near-fatal mistake when presenting offerings to his gods, the Greek pantheon. He failed to properly honour Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. Insulted by the lack of respect, Artemis sent down a monstrous, demonic boar in retaliation to devastate Aeneas's lands. This demon boar was appropriately named the Caledonian boar. Luckily for Aeneas, as I mentioned before, this was a golden age of heroes. It was the era of the Argonauts, a crew with incredibly famous individuals. There was Jason, who united the Argonauts in the quest for the Golden Fleece, Perseus, son of Zeus, and slayer of Medusa, Heracles, son of Zeus, and potentially the strongest demigod to ever live. Amongst this crew was the hero of the story, or, more specifically, Atalanta. Atalanta was famous as a huntress. Swift-footed and a deadly shot with the bow, she had been abandoned in a forest as a child, and was nursed by a she-bear instead of her own mother. When hunters were called from across the lands to aid in this great boar hunt, Atalanta answered the call. It was Atalanta's involvement that secured the defeat of the Caledonian boar, her arrow wounding it before the Caledonian prince and several others struck killing blows. As such, Atalanta won the boar's hide as her spoils for this effort. There are some interpretations of the story that suggest that Artemis, who favoured Atalanta, sent the huntress to almost sabotage the men by sowing discontent. And indeed, in most versions there was much strife even after the hunt. Several men of the hunt took issue with the woman taking the prize, and on this issue there were multiple murders, even amongst family. I think we're able to draw a number of parallels between the tale concerning the appearance of a demon boar that scars the landscape. In both cases, that which the boar leaves behind, a curse and a hide, represent the external world around them and the destructive nature of man. Additionally, there are two huntresses, each born in the wild and favoured by a goddess as almost their own daughter. Atalanta, much like Sun, represents freedom, represents independence, and holds a strong connection to the natural world. I'd also suggest a relation to Ebisu, whose freeing of prostitutes to work their own keep and to build their own lives is relatively Artemis-like in nature. Ebisu is a strong female huntress too, commissioned by Jigo and by the order of the Emperor, ruler of the land, in a similar way to how Atalanta is commissioned by King Aeneas of Caledon. Just as this mirrors Aeneas' arrangement of a hunt for the Caledonian boar, Ebisu and her forces do manage to strike the damning blows against Nago, Moro, and even Okoto. Ebisu's rifle manages to wound Nago before Prince Ashitaka defeated the beast on its last legs, in a similar way to how the Caledonian boar was wounded and weakened by Atalanta, then defeated by the Prince Meleager. These sorts of connections do make me wonder whether an influence could have been had. Several of Miyazaki's works have had their roots in the Western world, so it's a definite possibility. In fact, Nausicaa is a character named after a character of Greek mythology, from Homer's The Odyssey. Regardless, as the Caledonian boar is one of the primary famous demon boars, it certainly seems a strong possibility. What do you think? Do you think there may be a connection here? Do you simply find this interesting? Feel free to let me know. I know this is a relatively short video, but it's an interesting topic, and I imagine it'll be the first of several Princess Mononoke videos. There's so much to say about this movie. There's so much to say about Miyazaki in general. I doubt I'll be exhausting it anytime soon. If that sounds like something you'd like to hear more about, please like, please subscribe, and please let me know. Feel free to leave a comment. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.